Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Graphic Multiverse. I'm Paul, joined with Rob.
Hello there.
And Chandler.
Hi.
Hey, guys. How is everybody doing?
Good. It's been a while.
It has been a while. Chandler, your apartment's looks like it's coming along pretty good.
Thanks. I need wall art. It's just like, yeah.
I think is the lamp new? Because I don't remember seeing like a fridge or like a microwave or a couch in previous recordings.
I kind of like shift my thing over a little bit, but yeah, there's like a little countertop thing and there's like some weird recessed lighting. It's dumb, but there's a fridge and a microwave on top because I'm tall.
That's cool, man. That is cool. Being tall is what all the cool kids do. That's why I'm not tall.
You're still cool.
Yeah, I'm like, the Hobbit-sized friend.
Not probably even globally average. You're probably that at least.
Yeah,
I definitely am. It's just funny. I think Chandler, I think we were talking about this when you were here about how like everyone's like, Paul's so little. Like I'm 5'9". Like right. I'm like just below.
You're above average. If we're taking all men on this planet Earth, 5 feet 7.5 inches is the global average.
Wow.
Everyone's like, "Oh, Paul's so wee." Like, what the fuck?
What century is that?
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
definitely above average.
Yeah, so run and tell that, homeboy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like to think it's just people reaching for things to say about me.
Gonna pull a muscle.
Was like that line in Fight Club, like, you're so fucking blonde.
I haven't seen Fight Club in a long time.
Oh man, I haven't either. I thought, it's something I feel like all the cool kids are into it when like, teens and 20s. I'm like, you know what? I need to like take a break from this movie. I don't want to be,
It's like their gateway film into like edgy.
A little bit, it's like the kind of people who don't know that like Fight Club is making fun of masculinity or like toxic masculinity, like Tyler Durden is not who you'd be modeling your life after. Not that I did, but
Yeah, I think the first time I saw Fight Club was because people were like, oh, it's cool. Brad Pitt fights people. And then I watched it and I was like 13. I'm like, it's cool. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And then I watched it again when I was like 20. But then the second time I watched it, it was because I was like, David Fincher's awesome.
And he is. That hasn't changed.
And I watched it on like the filmmaking aspect of it. I was like, that was cool. But I still don't think I fully absorbed the message of the movie.
Yeah. The movie, as gritty and fucking dirty and violent, I think it's actually a really beautiful movie. Like how it's shot. I mean, it's David Fincher, like it looks
so meticulous.
You don't really have to know what's going on to just appreciate like the aesthetic of it. What you really should do is watch the commentary with David Fincher, Brad Pitt, and Ed Norton. Cause I feel like I learned a bunch of stuff and I laughed a lot, which I feel like is the ideal combination. Because like there's a bit where they talk about like when Edward Norton's stunt double gets thrown down a flight of stairs and the top like, oh God, Jesus, that hurts. It looks like it hurts. And like Brad Pitt asked David Fincher, so you made that guy, how many takes did you do of this guy throwing himself down a flight of stairs? He was like, I did about 20. And he was like, so what take ended up in the movie? The first one. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, really? You fucking made that dude fucking fall down the stairs 19 times and you stuck with the first one?
Brutal.
It's just funny. They're kind of like, bragging on each other a little bit. But yeah, I don't know how we got to Fight Club, but here we are.
Graphic multiverse.
I know. It's just, you just go where the flow takes you. But yeah, I'm speaking of movies though. This is sort of been the big thing that reunited us all, like the Fantastic Four signal in the sky that brought us back together.
Wedding or a funeral.
Yeah. Ryan Reynolds announcing Deadpool 3 coming to the MCU with Hugh Jackman returning as Wolverine. It almost feels like it's too good to be true.
Yeah, to me, I was like, all right, he can't be that big of a character. But then like the promo thing, is that a legit promo with the claws through it?
Yeah.
Like that's okay.
Or so we've been led to believe.
Yeah. And they made a pretty big deal of it. So I'm like,
yeah,
he's got to be at least in it enough.
Yeah,
like maybe not as much as like Cable was in Deadpool 2, but maybe he is.
I don't know. I was telling this to Chandler a couple of days ago. I would love for it to be super meta, and I would love it because I've heard this talk that it's like a road trip movie, and it would be great if it was just them like driving to the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's like Wolverine dropping off his kid at college.
But like Wolverine, they can't be bringing Hugh Jackman as Wolverine to the MCU. He's just
too old.
Yeah, he's too old. I mean, Hugh Jackman looks great.
Oh, but of course.
The other day when I had the realization that he was younger than I was in the first X-Men movie, I was like,
yeah.
What is my life?
Oh no. Yeah.
A failure.
No, it's true that I think, I saw some talk that people think that maybe it might be leading to like a Secret Wars.
Because there is only in the timeline, Deadpool's coming out
2024.
Yeah, which is in September. So it's like, I don't know, 5 or 6 months before the first Secret War movie or the first Kang Dynasty movie. So I mean, it has to be some kind of multiverse shenanigans to bring Deadpool over.
Yeah, I did read like a really like lame, like, well, I don't say lame, like huge quotes, a leak from someone, and it was just like really dumb. I can read it if you guys want me to.
Yeah,
let's hear it.
Do that setup and be like, I read this really funny thing. The end.
Okay, so it's really long. It's like Hugh Jackman returning to be Wolverine in Deadpool 3, which is a slight change from what I originally reported. Deadpool 4 was the target movie for Hugh to return, and that movie would basically be a buddy comedy flick with Samuel L. Jackson as Fury, because Deadpool 3 originally was supposed to be Deadpool Kills the Fox Universe as his debut into the MCU, and we see Hugh carry over from that in Deadpool 4. Plans change. This was moved up. We most likely will still get Samuel L. Jackson in this film, and it will most certainly be an R-rated comedic buddy flick in the essence of 48 Hours or Lethal Weapon. Notice the date, 9/6/24. There's a reason it comes before Secret Wars. I've already shared with you what we'll see in the X-Men Secret Wars. That we will see the X-Men in Secret Wars, and they will be fighting Tom Holland's Venom in one of the battle worlds. After seeing them in Secret Wars, we will then see them in their own film. And this is how Hugh Jackman connects it all. Then there's like more like X-Men stuff if you want to read that too. Okay, thanks. It's dumb enough.
Yeah, I mean, that would be cool if like Secret Wars is truly just the biggest. Like we thought like Infinity War and Endgame was wild.
Like it could get any bigger than that.
But yeah, it's like you got Tobey Maguire fucking slinging web and hitting what's his name? Cyclops from the first one in the face.
Oh God. I'm getting so hard right now.
We got friggin' Halle Berry talking about toads getting hit by lightning and shit.
With her like shitty African accent.
Yeah.
I suppose camp. I am if I did the what?
Like, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, but if it explains mutants coming into the MCU, I mean, that's the thing. I like that. I just have no idea how they're gonna bring in mutants. I mean, it would be kind of cool if like, you know, they kind of take a bit from like the Hickman Secret Wars, where like when, you know, he's got all these different battle planes, and then when it reforms and makes a new Earth, it now includes like a rewritten history. And it'd be kind of cool if like
shuffled in.
Like, oh, there was like a Magneto during World War II, you know, and you know, maybe, I don't know, maybe Cap and Wolverine had like a mission or something, and maybe Deadpool will be the one who remembers the before and after. Like Deadpool, did I say Wolverine or Deadpool? I meant Deadpool remembering it all, and Deadpool kind of being like the audience avatar. Kind of, you know, so I don't know.
That kind of makes sense. It kind of like fuels the fourth wall breaking.
Right, exactly. So maybe that's the angle that they're going to go with, because I loved, what is it he says in you know, the first Deadpool when Colossus is bringing him to the mansion, and he's like, oh, we like Patrick Stewart or like the James McAvoy, like it's hard to keep track. So yeah, like maybe yeah, he finds himself in this new landscape, remembering, you know, everything before and what it was before.
And nobody gets it because they don't remember.
Right. That would be hilarious, actually. It's like another Xavier, like first it was first Stewart, now McAvoy.
Like, what?
I don't know who this guy is. Yeah, and nobody understands his jokes at all except the audience. That would be cool.
All right, I found an old timeline from Comic-Con. So in Comic-Con next year we get Quantumania, Secret Invasion, Guardians 3, Echo, Loki, The Marvels, Blade, Ironheart, and potentially Coven of Chaos. So none of that has anything to do with this timeline.
Don't care.
And then 2024, we get Cap 4 and Thunderbolts. And then after Thunderbolts is when we'll be getting Deadpool, Fantastic Four.
I can't wait for Fantastic Four.
Speaking of Thunderbolts, there's
we haven't talked about the lineup getting leaked, or not leaked, but shown.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
I know. I'm excited for Thunderbolts.
I'm excited too. When I saw Bucky was there, I was like, yeah.
The names are pretty funny though. Like most of them have the same power.
Yeah,
right. I do like that. What was that? I heard Sebastian Stan saying how like I'm so glad I'm in a Marvel movie that doesn't involve like Chris Evans or like Anthony Mackie.
Yeah, he's like, I got a break from Anthony Mackie.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm excited to get but like you said, it's basically just a bunch of like super soldiers of various strengths and then Ghost.
I'm hoping we get Zemo in there because
he's too good to not have.
Plus, I feel like they alluded a lot of like in Winter Soldier or Cap and fucking Falcon, Sam.
Those
and Stan.
Two guys.
Yeah, like when the Dora Milaje when they take Zemo and they're talking about how like we're gonna take him to this base with Thunderbolt Ross, yada yada yada. They're gonna do stuff with them. We don't know, not our business. And I kept thinking it's got to be Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll be like maybe it's like a plot twist that they're
like a cameo or like
withholding.
Yeah.
He's like the old guy that they randomly run into midway through the movie. That like action movie trope where it's just like do you ever see the Predators movie with Adrian Brody?
No, and I heard that was actually pretty good.
It was pretty good, but like halfway through the movie, spoiler alert, they just like run into Lawrence Fishburne. And he's just like, business. I've been here for years. So that could be Zemo.
Yeah. Or, Zemo hates super soldiers. And if you got the Russian Cap and.
Yeah, he's still just trying to kill them all.
Yeah.
He's the antagonist. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. Or, because I mean, and
ends up becoming a part of the team somehow.
Yeah. Well, in the comics, I don't know if you guys read the Thunderbolts comics from the 90s. He was Citizen V. That was like his alter ego. And he was supposed to be like a Captain America. He was like a swashbuckling Captain America. Mm-hmm. And like at the end of the first issue, you learn that like, because this is after Onslaught, where everyone dies but the X-Men. Mm-hmm. And so Zemo was like, well, everyone is feeling really scared right now. They want a new super team. We should be that super team so we can do all this nasty shit while people thinking we're good guys. And like, it's like, yeah. So I don't know how they're going to spin it with this. I mean, we definitely got Allegra DeFontaine. And because I mean, the idea seemed to be that this was going to be Thunderbolt Ross's plan. But now that we lost William Hurt, I heard a rumor that that Harrison Ford was approached to take over as Thunderbolt Ross.
All right.
I mean, I think it would work. I just don't know.
Mad at it.
No, I mean, grumpy military guy. Like, yeah, we all know he could do it.
He should come in as Jack Ryan, like as his Jack Ryan.
Yeah, I like that.
It's either him or the guy who plays Gordon or Sirius Black. I forgot his name already.
Oh, Gary Oldman.
Yeah, he plays everything well. So it's either that or
he's like a new Thunderbolt Ross that they don't explain why he looks different, and he just keeps his like English accent.
Or they should just normalize recasting people, because I feel like I feel like that's, especially with Disney nowadays, like I feel like we could go down a weird deep fake hole with the Luke Skywalker stuff you've been seeing and stuff. And like I rewatched Rogue One in anticipation of Andor coming out, and some of them CG people in that movie don't hold up.
Really? It's only been like what, 4 years?
Well, I remember people were complaining about what's his name, General Tarkin. Is that the big Empire guy?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Peter Cushing.
Yeah, they're like, he looked creepy, but I remember like leaving the movie and not even thinking about it. But no, he looks creepy as hell in that.
Yeah.
So if they're just like, let's just recast people, I'd be okay with it. It worked out. Like nobody gives a shit that what's his name, Terrence Howard.
Oh yeah,
recast and Bruce Banner got
like
recast.
The first and only recast.
Well, I mean, Ed Norton was the big one.
Yeah.
But yeah, like whatever.
I did like their explanation for Black Panther. I forget who said it, but they were saying how, Black Panther is really good about reflecting, the world at the time that it's written and being created. And at the time of writing it, the world was still kind of recovering from losing Chadwick Boseman. And I think they kind of wanted to reflect that. Plus, it kind of gives the opportunity for, if they want to do like the Shuri, Black Panther or whomever.
Yeah, man, I'm excited for that movie.
Oh my God, that trailer.
That trailer's wild. I'm just like, why am I so emotional right now?
I know. Well, what's been really interesting, I've been really looking forward to these phases of movies. I mean, one, because COVID, a lot of these movies got delayed, and I'm just so curious of just to kind of see where everybody landed after Endgame. That's why I was so looking forward to like Thor, and like with Black Panther, just to kind of see like in Doctor Strange, just how the world is recover. Like it's so timely, right? It's like because we all, like the audience and the characters, we all went through a worldwide devastation.
Yeah.
And so like in Doctor Strange, when when he's in the church talking to his old, colleague, and it's like they may as well be talking about COVID.
Mm-hmm.
It's the timing of it is like, yeah, because it did feel like we lived through a Thanos snap.
Mm-hmm. Empty streets. Yeah.
Well, that and just, was it COVID? We lost more people than we lost in World War II or something like that. Wow. So yeah, sorry, I don't I'm being a downer for a second, but I just saying the timing of it is really, I don't know. It just fits. It hits closer to home.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, just my 2 cents.
Yay.
I thought we froze.
No, it was like
just all pretend to freeze. But yeah, so I mean, since we've last spoke, we've had what other stuff? So we haven't talked about Thor at all. We haven't talked about Miss Marvel at all, except maybe the first episode of Miss Marvel.
She-Hulk.
Yeah.
No She-Hulk.
Which I just watched.
I haven't seen this week's yet.
Yeah,
it's really good. It's really good.
Let's start with She-Hulk. I love She-Hulk.
Me too.
It's like it like filled the void of like the 30-minute sitcom that I just haven't had for a long time.
Yeah, and it's nice to have something that's like not everything hanging in the fucking balance.
Yeah, exactly. It's like every episode's its own little thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's chill.
It's relatable.
Low stress.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
it's funny, after the first episode, I was like, oh man, all incels are gonna hate this shit.
Oh yeah. And I love how that like incels are kind of in the show.
Yeah.
I know, they find that website.
They really just like call out.
Like they're on 4chan.
Yeah. I think it's great. And I love, Angela was even saying too, how she's like, yeah, I love that this is like geared, like it's written by women and it's kind of geared towards women, just talking about, her speech about kind of like her being always angry, but like more angry than Bruce ever had to be.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I love seeing Mark Ruffalo. I love that he's going back to Sakaar. Are we getting like a Planet Hulk? Like what's going on there? So, typical Marvel fashion, telling a story while setting up another one.
That one was so silly too. He's just like in a spaceship. He's like, all right, I guess that one's going.
You know what? It's so funny because I remember when Marvel first started out, I was really afraid that that they would. I was nervous that they were going to do the cosmic stuff because I thought it was going to be too cheesy. This is 2008. When like we just had Dark Knight. Iron Man was a huge success, and I remember people being, "Oh, it'd be great if they did like this and like Galactus," and I'm like, "No, like it's gonna be too campy." And now here it is, 2022, where it's like they're doing all kinds of fucking campy shit, not explaining it, and nobody caring.
We got eased into it though, so I appreciate that.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, I'm having a blast with She-Hulk every week. We had we've got Wong showing up in 2 episodes.
Wongers.
Yeah. Oh, that was great. Dude.
That girl's name was Marissa.
Oh, Madeline.
Madison with a Y.
but not where you think.
Not where you think.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, it's been really just really, really good. And I love that they are including the Hulk, like the first Incredible Hulk film. Like I love that they brought in Tim Roth, his Abomination, and I did like the throwaway line about, like, oh, I was a different person then. And, like, she turns to the camera and laughs, like addressing the Ed Norton recasting. And kind of talking about like some of the plot of that Hulk movie. So it's nice that they're not like, shoving it or sweeping it under the rug, that it's part of the canon.
And we're gonna get Daredevil, and I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're also getting the Leader. Speaking of bringing people back from the first Hulk movie.
He's in Cap 4, right?
Yeah, New World Order, which I'm really fucking pumped about. But She-Hulk is great.
Yeah. So then what else? Ms. Marvel. I also loved.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah. It was cute.
I thought Ms. Marvel reminded me of just like a Disney Channel original show or something. Just like some like low stakes kids show I would have watched when I was like 14.
That's so Kamala.
Yeah, basically like Even Stevens or something.
Yeah, which I'm here for. I mean, that's the beauty of Marvel. They're eventually there's stuff for everybody at this point, right? Yeah,
and I'm just gonna gobble it all up because I'm
same.
I can't live without Marvel. So
and she's a mutant.
Make mine Marvel. Oh yeah.
Which so I didn't even catch the first time. There's the so I had to go back and like go to that point just to hear. And I love that they chose that tiny little riff from the cartoon to be like the mutant signifier.
Oh yeah, because we got that in Doctor Strange.
So excited in Doctor Strange. I literally just like turned to Sabine. I was like, that was from the cartoon. And she's like, I have no what?
She's like, you're scaring me, Rob. Yeah. No, I mean, I think just knowing that mutants are coming, the fact that we're going to see a live action Namor, blowing my mind.
He looks great in those trailers.
He does. I like the Aztec ankle.
Yeah, and I love that he's literally still got the little goofy little wings on his ankles, and he's just wearing a friggin' Speedo. Like, they're like, that's Namor.
as it should. But going back to Miss Marvel, I love the idea of making her a mutant because supposedly that was the initial plan. And then the whole Marvel Fox thing, and
like,
then
let's make the Inhumans happen.
Yeah,
let's not make the Inhumans happen. I was kind of like really upset with the Inhumans push as like a devoted X-Men fan.
Same.
Like, these are
everybody was who was like. There's probably some one weirdo with like a Black Bolt shirt on in some basement. It's like, yeah, finally.
Nope.
Yeah.
They are incestuous royalists, and I do not respect them. They just go back
no, that was really fucking dumb. It's funny because you know how I've been rereading all the X-Men stuff. So I actually recently finished Death of X, and like it just fucking just killing off people. Like, oh, what are the Terrigen Mists were bad for mutants? Like, oh, that's convenient.
Wow.
I didn't even finish. I remember reading the first issue.
Genocide?
Yeah, I remember reading the first issue and seeing like a skeleton of like Cyclops like withered away. And I'm like, I can't do this.
Apparently, the Inhumans got their comeuppance in I think Death of the Inhumans, and they got fucking wrecked.
Oh, word. Word.
Yeah.
I need to re-up my Marvel Unlimited subscription so I can catch up.
It's worth it. It's worth it. That is money. It pays for itself. Like, what did I just finish? Because I read that, but then I realized I totally glossed over Uncanny X-Force. So good.
Uncanny X-Force. I feel like I was preaching that years ago. I think I have like I think I have a bunch of the hardcovers. I went like Newbury Comics was having a blowout, and I like just bought all of it in hardcover, like the hardcover trades. And I remember reading, I was like, God damn, this is good.
It's got a great Archangel story. I think that was the series that made me really appreciate Deadpool.
Yeah, Deadpool's great in it.
Great Deadpool.
Phantom X is great in it. Like,
and I hated Phantom X for the longest time.
Who cared about Phantom X?
Yeah,
he was just there.
I thought
after reading that arc, I was like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
It was just like
Discount Gambit.
Yeah, but like White is like, why is he dressed like a sperm? Like, I don't, but in Uncanny X-Force, because even in the beginning of Uncanny X-Force, I'm like, this fucking guy. But by the end of it, they like Remender did some really good character growth. And the best thing about it too is that I love that Wolverine calls him Le Pew.
Oh yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, it's just great. But but yeah, good.
Oh man,
good
My
stuff.
biggest complaint was not really a complaint, but there's a really so Archangel, I guess when he's like evil mode, he kind of like keeps threatening Betsy with like, oh, I'm going to like inject you with my poison. He says it like 4 times. I'm like, please stop saying that. It's like, it sounds kind of weird now.
Yeah. I mean, like most things, some things are, kind of didn't age as well. But I thought overall the arc is like, and some of the art is like really good. Some of it, like,
he had some like a back-to-back amazing artists working with him on that.
Dude, I mean, yeah. Phil Noto. Was it Ribic? Isan?
Yeah, Eastside Ribic's done it a bunch.
We have a place that we go to see our doctor called the Eastside Clinic. And I feel like every time I say his name, I was like Isan Ribic. Like I was like, oh yeah, Eastside Clinic. I love his art.
But yeah, that arc is just like, oh yeah, Declan Shalvey, I think, does some of it too.
I just wasn't wild about like the Captain Britain stuff. I didn't mind. The story was fine, but the art gets really kind of sloppy for me.
Yeah.
And maybe that was the point, but I don't know.
That's kind of my favorite stuff Remender does, though, when he finds like all his arcs always find like a weird, like the weird little sub corner universes of like Marvel that you kind of forget about. And then because there's also like they go to the Age of Apocalypse briefly too, don't they?
Oh yeah, and that's like a big point.
And then I think there's made a little spin out comic arc of that too.
They did, yeah. No, I mean, and I like what they did with that Nightcrawler. And oh my god, how Nightcrawler takes out the Blob. I don't want to say Chandler if you haven't gotten that far, but
I can take off my headphones if you want.
Okay, real quick. I'll give you the signal. When he bamps a fucking shark inside of the Blob.
Read lips. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I mean that was devastating.
Oh man, I need to reread this now.
Did you forget about that?
I did forget about that.
He fucking bamps a great white shark into the Blob, and the shark eats the Blob from the inside out.
Yeah, that vaguely. I'm all tangled up cables here. Hold on.
Did he say he can't say anything because cables here?
I think he said there's cables in the background.
Oh, okay. He's
right,
consulting the ancient text. I thought I
found book 1, book 2.
Oh.
And then
Otherworld. Yeah, that's the
okay.
Yeah,
I have the omnibus.
I will consult the texts.
Yes. Yeah. No,
Tome
it's
of ancient law.
Yeah. Chandler got to see some of those in person when he was visiting.
Oh my god, that huge X-Men omnibus from Hickman. I'm like, oh yes.
Yeah.
All over me.
So like I've accepted I'm no longer a single issue man. I just can't.
Yeah,
I can't go back.
Oh no.
Back to the streets.
Who the fuck has the space for it?
It's seriously like I mean, I'm in my basement right now, but it's like I have that like 15 boxes behind me just full.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then like my trades are just like in little pockets all throughout wherever there's space to stack them. But yeah, I just want to start getting like the good stuff in the nicest version. Yep.
Same way. Like I plan to own all of the like X-Men to buy that I can find. Like I just got was it Wolverine in the X-Men, which I was able to appreciate having reread Uncanny X-Force because that's happening kind of simultaneously. So basically when Archangel leaves X-Force, check out Wolverine and the X-Men because they kind of take Warren in after all of that. And
Wolverine
Apocalypse.
Kid Apocalypse. It was one of those things where I heard it, I'm like, that's dumb, and then I read it and I was like, oh, and his name is Genesis, which is like the opposite of Apocalypse. I love it.
Now the name of his wife.
Yes, that's dude. The Apocalypse shit gets like retconned so many times where it's like
I legit don't even know where Apocalypse stands now. All I know about Apocalypse is that in like modern X-Men, when they're on the island, every once in a while Apocalypse just walks out and is hanging there. I'm like, they're just cool with him now. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, because in the beginning it was like, yeah, he's like the oldest mutant. Like I can because I think he's older than Namor. I mean, he has to be.
Celine's the oldest mutant.
Okay, well, Apocalypse is. I mean, he used
to be the oldest mutant.
Yeah, right. I just remember he was around for a long fucking time. Yeah, and even though he had all this power, he couldn't live forever. and he had to like take on new bodies, and that was the whole Apocalypse the 12 storyline, where he was going to merge with X-Men, but he merged with Cyclops instead. Like Cyclops sacrificed himself, and then Apocalypse was like, he was like a, you know, an apocyclopean thing. And then now it's like, yeah, then it's like, oh well, now he was like a, I don't know. I don't know. Even I fucking love X-Men. I'm getting confused talking about it, because then it was like, oh, he's this one thing, and then now it's like, oh, well, he was actually part of this fucking underground island nation thing that got, you know, like the whole Hickman. I mean, it was cool, but I'm like, so did the other shit not happen now? Was that like?
I just hope in like, I don't know, 17 years, when the X-Men movies get to that point, they can make a good Apocalypse movie.
Yeah.
Because man, was I disappointed with that movie.
That was no bueno.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't wild about Apocalypse in that. I feel like I didn't like that he was Ivan Ooze from Power Rangers. You know, like I want Apocalypse. Like, you know what? If they do Apocalypse right, he needs to be like Thanos. Like, I want to be afraid of him.
He needs to be big and like scary.
Yeah, totally.
Not just purple Oscar Isaac.
Yes, and now that they're bringing in the Celestials, they can do Apocalypse right, because Apocalypse apparently got a lot of his shit from the Celestials, like that he was supposed to be kind of part of the shepherding of mutation. So if you get Apocalypse the mutant with a celestial tech, and apparently he even got some shit from Kang, which we're also getting, you could do Apocalypse right.
Yeah, because
them lip some justice.
Rama Tut or something at one point, and they're just.
Justice.
God, comics are fucking confusing.
Well, yeah, because first it was like it was kind of hinted at or implied that like that Kang was a descendant of Doom, but then that got changed, and now he's a descendant of Reed.
Oh, I know the first part. Interesting.
Yeah, because it also in my comics quest, I started reading like the Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Fantastic Four. And I remember reading that issue and being fucking confused. And I'm like, this is the first time the character's introduced. Like, there's no years of lore I got to catch up on. This is it, and I'm fucking lost. Like, time travel, why? But I trust they'll get it sorted out for the MCU. But speaking of the MCU, just to switch gears for a tiny moment, I just got a bit of news. A source from Variety. So we all know that Blade is coming out, and apparently Blade has been having some issues. The director left. Apparently, the actress playing Blade, whose name I don't want to dare try to pronounce to offend people.
Mahershala Ali.
Yes, Hershey Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
I guess
there's an H in there somewhere.
Right. He hasn't been happy with the script, which apparently is only 90 pages, and I guess he's been feeling kind of frustrated with it. So the director left, and according to Variety, if this is true, I just got this texted to me, Sam Raimi is stepping in to do Blade.
Let's go.
I'm down.
So I watched Blade 1 and 2 for the first time ever a month ago.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
wow.
So hilarious.
Wow.
So I was home alone for like a week and a half while Sabina and Max were in Germany with Sabina's family. And I was like, I'm going to take this time to watch movies, and especially ones nobody else has an interest in.
Right.
And I was just like, you know what? I've never seen Blade. Let's watch Blade. And within like 3 minutes of the first Blade, I was like, holy shit, these movies fucking rule.
Yeah.
Like
the Blade, people have to shit on the second Blade, but it's good. But yeah, but that first Blade,
even vampires, come on.
Blade 1, I was just like blown away with, because I was like, this movie looks great. Like,
it's aged well.
It aged very well. There's a few kind of goofy.
I mean, the demons at the end.
At the very end.
Yeah.
But like, other than that, like, it looks like a Scorsese movie. Like, in the city.
That's how good the movie is. Like, you can forgive the shitty CGI, because everything up until that point,
it was just two people fighting. Like, these movies, they weren't like crazy world-ending thing. I mean, I guess
fighting armies,
but Dragon Ball Z fights.
Exactly, and
and we got the greatest line in cinematic history. There's always some motherfucker trying to ice skate up a hill.
Yeah,
what does that even mean? Who gives a shit?
It's like Wesley Snipes is so fucking cool in those movies. And he like is trying to be cool, and you can tell he's trying to be cool, but it works. You're just like, Blade is the best. And I was like, how did I go so long without seeing the Blade
I don't know,
movies?
bro. This is like
I've seen
just
Blade
when you
Trinity.
think you know
I
a
saw
guy.
Blade Trinity in theaters with like one of my cousins.
What?
And I was like, this was fine. So I think maybe that's why I never like went back.
Oh
but
man.
So yeah, watching those two movies, I was just like,
and that also has Deadpool's actor in there.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds.
Basically just playing Deadpool, because
you know what, they could even make
Ryan
that
Reynolds.
canon if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but no, Blade, especially the first one, is fucking incredible. And you know, a lot of people, I wish Don was here, because I know Don, who shops at the store, would back me up on this. A lot of people love to give like Spider-Man and X-Men credit for getting kind of the like Marvel movies up and running. It was Blade. Blade was first, and you know, and Blade was like the sleeper hit. Like Blade was the movie people did not expect to be so fucking successful. Because think about it, at that point, that was like late. It was
97.
97. You know, and it's like
it was pre the leather renaissance. So like he was like pre Underworld, pre the Matrix.
It's so true. And if you think about it, the only other live action Marvel property to hit theaters was fucking Howard the Duck.
Wow.
You know, and so they went with like the 70s, you know, which I love Blade, but let's be honest, Blade wasn't really well known.
Mm-hmm. So I think I heard like Wesley Snipes actually was trying to get like a Black Panther movie made in like the late 80s and 90s. But like,
that would have been incredible.
It was never happening. But then like he was,
it's like, if I can't have the Panther,
approached for Blade, and he was like, yeah, but oh man, he's perfect in that role. So after seeing that, I was just like, man, they got a lot to live up to for me now for this new Blade. And I hope they take, like, I don't think anybody will be able to match the like physical presence of Wesley Snipes, just because he's like ripped and like clearly knows some martial arts stuff. So I kind of hope this Blade is a little more like, I don't know, not grounded, obviously, because it's vampire shit, but like Constantine-y or something, you know what I mean? Like kind of like,
yeah, just do its own thing. You know, I try to make it its own thing. And we all know too that he's an incredible actor. He's Moonlight,
great. Yeah.
True Detective season 3, fucking phenomenal. So we know he'll act. He'll be incredible in it. I do want to talk though while we're on Blade, because I feel like one thing we really need to address is Steven Dorff as fucking Deacon Frost. He is unsung in that movie. Like that dude does not get enough fucking credit. Like he's like charismatic, he's fucking slimy, he's dastardly, and he's got, like, honestly, there's a scene in that movie I fucking laugh out loud every time I watch it. When he's talking to the guy, it's like, oh yeah, when he does the thing and he like does the flip, like shut the fuck up. Like that whole exchange is hilarious. Like just I don't think Steven
Blade.
Yeah,
it's on HBO Max, I think.
Oh, good.
It was on one of the big 3 streaming services.
Yeah, probably won't be on Disney Plus soon. Given a matter of time. You know, it might be like you have to unlock. Because remember when Daredevil came on Disney Plus, you had to change your settings because like you had to prove you're a big boy.
Yep.
But then what is it? Werewolf by Night's coming out this month.
Yeah,
that looks pretty groovy,
dude. It's already got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, granted, last I checked, it was only 7 reviews, but I don't know. I'm excited.
Directed by Michael Giacchino, the composer.
Yeah. Who did like Spider-Man and Batman and
Up.
and Up. Wow. Yeah.
But it just looks super cool. Like I feel like it captured that like universal horror, but kind of like Hammer horror, campy style.
Do you know what I would have done? Because I loved the Werewolf by Night comics growing up. I would have loved to have done it like have it set in the fucking 70s, like the comic book is. Because Werewolf by Night was one of the earlier comic books that I had. And come on, the guy's name is Jack Russell. It's so campy. Like I would have loved to have done like a 70s, but if I couldn't get 70s, having it be like a universal B movie horror, I'm very cool with. Yeah, I'd love to see what they're gonna do with like some of the monster stuff in Marvel.
Or maybe get a Bloodstone at some point.
Ooh, I'm excited to see Man-Thing. Apparently, we're gonna get Man-Thing in Werewolf by Night.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, you get a little bit of a glimpse of him in the trailer,
so that's cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for the spooky Marvel universe.
Yeah, we got the mystic, the spooky, the cosmic.
Level. Yeah. We're getting all the things I never thought we would
all
see
the corners
again because because I was growing up in the time of Nolan, where it was like, because even for Iron Man, it was pretty grounded.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, like there's no, all of the threats are.
Iron Man could have been in the Dark Knight universe, like.
Oh, for sure.
Easily could have fit in there.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so I'm just, love to be proven wrong.
Nolanite.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm just so excited for all of that. But
there's so much stuff.
Well, yeah.
So much stuff.
I mean, if we get like a Midnight Suns,
we are fed. We're getting fed.
Yeah.
Eating good.
Said it before, I'll say it again. Good time to be a fan, especially a Marvel fan. It would suck to be a DC fan right now.
I don't know. Black Adam gonna save the day.
I'm gonna watch that.
I'm gonna watch it too.
I don't care what they say.
It looks like they're kind of like almost not framing it as a JSA movie, but it kind of looks like they're going to assemble the JSA.
Yeah,
I mean a little bit. Dr. Fate and
I want to see Flash with a bowl on his head. That's what I want to see.
Yeah. And are we ever going to see Flash, period?
I think Ezra Miller is going to get sent to like an institution on the moon at this point. Like,
yeah.
If he assaults one more couple at a resort.
Oh, God.
Jesus. I know. It's just sad. I mean, because I do feel bad for people who were like into the DC stuff because like the amount of time Shazam's been rescheduled, like the Flash.
I'm very excited for the second Shazam because I love the first one.
I remember you guys were saying that you're fans. I enjoyed it.
It was just I had beyond no expectations for that movie, and it was
probably helped.
It was just super fun.
Yeah, it was
that's all I wanted.
1980s child adventure, child endangerment film.
Oh my God, Shazam is a movie I'm surprised didn't get made in the 80s because that would be like like imagine Big but with like capes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean it's would have done well, I think.
But yeah, I mean that's basically it.
Aquaman 2
right now, right? Oh yeah, Aquaman 2.
Yeah.
I just forget about Aquaman. Aquaman
Boogaloo.
is wild.
Yeah, Aquaman was another movie where went in with zero expectations, and I was like, I had a surprisingly good time watching it.
Yeah, it was just so ridiculous. But I loved it.
Yeah, also Patrick Wilson
aspect of things.
Yeah, Patrick Wilson was great as fucking Ocean Master or whatever. Like I like how they leaned into some of the comic bookiness of it, like Ocean Master's helmet that would move with his eyebrows and shit. It's like, you know what, like.
Sure.
There's an octopus. There's an octopus playing drums in a coliseum.
Yeah.
He finds his mom in the center of the earth with dinosaur skin. It's all the good kind of crazy.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I didn't hate myself after watching it. But yeah, who knows what's gonna happen with DC at this point. I mean
Joker 2, the musical with Lady Gaga.
That was fake at first, but then it was actually real.
Same. But you know what? Oh. Listen, I am here for it because I actually really enjoyed Joker.
I still haven't watched Joker.
What?
Wow.
But I love Lady Gaga, so I'm in.
I love Lady Gaga too. I think no, I thought Joker was really well done.
That's another one. Like, so that's on my. I literally have a list of like 50 movies that I'm trying to get through. And when I was home alone, I got through a lot of movies, and they're all movies I'd never seen before. Didn't get to Joker.
What's the list of what's so far?
Oh man,
you've seen?
It's a lot. But let's see. Let's go through the quick list of movies I watched. I used the app Letterboxd to track my movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's convenient.
That's cool.
So now I can go back. All right. So let's see. The end of August. So the first movie I watched all alone was Greta Gerwig's Little Women.
Oh, okay. Oh, with the Ugg boots.
No, with what's her name? Saoirse Ronan and
Florence Pugh.
Yeah, with the UGG boots. There's somebody like in a scene where you can see them very clearly wearing UGG boots.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. I thought it was delightful.
I'm sure it is.
Let's see. I watched A Few Good Men, which I had weirdly never seen.
That's a go. I want the truth.
Great movie. Prey, because that came out.
Oh, so fucking good.
Prey was very good.
Yeah.
Let's see. Last Night in Soho.
That was great.
I was catching up on some stuff.
Oh, that I haven't seen yet. I love Edgar Wright.
Yeah, it's very different from his stuff, but it's still it's good.
It's an Edgar Wright movie. I can't imagine like it not being poorly made.
Yeah. Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, hell yeah.
So goddamn good. Holy shit. That was one of the by the end of that movie, especially like the scene where they're like flicking through all of the different multiverses. I was like in my back room watching it on like my projector, and I was just like,
yeah, that is the multiverse movie.
Crying and like, what is happening? I need to watch that again. Oh,
his little speech about being kind and how like it's not, people think that like, oh, I'm like weak, but I'm not. It's just another tactic to survive. And then when she starts fighting them with niceness, so good.
Yeah, that I don't even know how to it's so good. But then let's see. I watched Blade 1, Blade 2, Reign of Fire.
Oh,
that's
nice.
The dragon one?
Yeah, Christian Bale.
Okay.
I'm not saying I watched all good movies. What else did I watch? I watched Police Story, the Jackie Chan movie. Nice. Chungking Express, which is another. That was my 2 nights of Hong Kong. Let's see. I watched No Time to Die, catching up on James Bond stuff. King of New York, that Christopher Walken gangster movie from 1990.
Wow. That's a movie.
That is a wild movie,
dude. That scene with him on the train, do you remember that when he's just kissing some
groping that girl?
Yeah, I have seen so much of Christopher Walken's tongue.
Ugh.
Yeah, but that movie out of control. So there's one scene where he gets out of prison and Lawrence Fishburne and the gang show up and they're staring at each other. And then Christopher Walken does this dance move. That's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. And I love it.
Yeah.
But
it's great.
But yeah, and then just nothing. Then my family came home and
ruined it.
I had to start. Since they've come home, I've only watched 2 movies. I watched Rogue One over 3 days before Andor came out.
3 installments. Okay.
Yeah. And then I watched Unstoppable, that train movie with Denzel Washington and Chris Pine.
I don't remember that one.
It's a movie about a train that won't stop.
Oh.
And Denzel Washington, who has been working the railroad for 28 years, has him and Chris Pine, the new guy, they have a plan. That movie is so goddamn good. It's Tony Scott's last movie.
I like Tony Scott. He gave us Top Gun.
Yeah. But and the new Top Gun's incredible. I probably have said
I've never seen the original, but the
new one is
Maverick was good.
Better than the original.
Okay.
Which is shocking because Top Gun is so iconic. And
it's a fun movie, and there's some cool stuff for the time. But
I love Top Gun. If I could own that movie, I pretty much owned every version because I was obsessed with that movie when I was a kid. I am just so happy that that movie needs to be studied because that's how you do a sequel. For me, that's up there.
It was so good.
Yeah, it's up there with Godfather 2, Empire Strikes Back. As far as how to do a fucking sequel, this needs to be a master class. Because
it's just so good too. It's just you have a mission, and then the movie's we're gonna practice for the mission, and then we're gonna do the mission.
Well,
by the end of that movie, I was just tense, and at the end, you're just
well, no, I think them explaining the mission was great, so that when they're doing it, you know exactly
every single thing. You're they got to do the flip. They got you got no time. Hurry up!
Get in the hole.
Yeah, and how are they gonna not pass out with a G-force when they go back up the mountain, and and then even when they get shot down, and they're behind enemy lines and they gotta fucking hijack I fucking loved.
We got Tom Cruise running.
Minute.
They had to get Tom Cruise running in there somewhere.
That's in his contracts.
Yep.
It's Tom Cruise played FDR. He was great. The running scene I didn't get.
Yeah. It's I don't know. Great form. But
oh yeah, absolutely. Was it a dream sequence? Because he was in a wheelchair, wasn't he? Yeah, so good, so good.
have you guys seen Andor yet?
Not
I
yet.
haven't yet. I want
first,
to.
but
Yeah, so I've seen the first 3 episodes that came out.
Holy shit, there's 3 out already?
They released the first 3 all at once.
Holy
and
shit.
I think the structure of the show, from what I heard, is each there's like mini stories over each 3 episodes. So like the first 3 episodes is like one arc, and then there's a little time jump, and then there's 3 more episodes, then a little time jump.
So they're kind of pulling a Hot D.
I don't think as extreme as Hot D. I'm actually watching Hot D.
Hot D is
as
really
somebody
good.
So I didn't watch. I mean, so I watched the first season of Game of Thrones, and that's it. That's all I ever watched.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. But I'm watching Hot D, and I like it. It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
I will say the last time jump, the big 10-year one, feel like we could have used a 5-year in there somewhere.
Yeah. A lot of people actually texted me, my dad being one of them, be like, are these new characters? Are these the same people? And I, maybe to a surprise or not a surprise to no one, I actually kind of fell off Hot D. Yeah, Angela is marching on without me. I think I'll get caught up with it, but like, I don't know. I just think I'm still burned from Game of Thrones, how that shit ended. But but I did hear from some people that it was kind of confusing. And was this the most recent episode? Was that episode 7? For some
6, I think.
Everyone is talking about something huge happening in 7. Like Reddit won't shut up about it. I don't know, because again, I'm behind. I have no idea what's happening. I just know that there is like a time wizard.
Well, the last from 5 to 6 was the big 10-year time jump. So there's like a bunch of kids that are new. So you have to figure out whose kids are who. There's like a whole like
time jump.
There's like relationships that have happened, and then they're like dissolving in this one. I'm like, I feel like I get what happened, but
would have been nice to kind of.
It's not really a spoiler, but like
you can spoil it. I mean,
I'm not going to remember any of their names. Basically, the girl that Damon ended up marrying, his cousin, niece, Lena. Like, I feel like she's a super cool character, and we get to see her for like 8 minutes.
Yeah.
And she has the most badass dragon, like all this shit. I'm like, I would like to see how their relationship develops, because
like I'm reading comments online saying like, I guess like the book, like a lot of that backstory stuff is only like this big.
Yeah, because it's not even like a book, right? It's kind of just like a history or something.
Right. So they have to really stretch it and like use artistic license. So it's like,
wait, did you say you read that on Comics Alliance?
No, artistic license.
Got it. Oh no, because I missed Comic Alliance. That was an awesome website. So I was like, are they back? Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I'm still into it. And this, I mean, I assume that's what Game of Thrones was a lot of. It's just like a bunch of people scheming against each other.
Just watch up to season 6. That's it. They're really fun.
Anyway, but yeah, I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. Like I was telling Angela, like, listen, I want you to have fun. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Be safe.
You know, it's just like it's like clearly didn't hurt you the way it hurt me.
Have you been watching The Rings of Power?
No,
I have been watching The Rings of Power.
I have not watched any or read any Tolkien, but I did see the illustrated Lord of the Rings, which I want to get for Christmas.
So which one?
It's like a really big hardcover on Amazon.
Do you know who the artist is?
To the internet.
Because I'll say this: if it's Alan Lee, fucking gorgeous. I have his Lord of the Rings and his Hobbit illustrated. His art is so good. Peter Jackson hired him to do set design for Lord of the Rings. Like a lot of the stuff you see in the movies were in illustrated versions of the books that came out years before the movies did. Oh, it's pretty cool.
I will say I don't have
illustrated by the author.
Oh, that's still kind of cool too. I mean, you know, Tolkien's no Alan Lee, but it's his world, you know. But just Google image Lord of the Rings Alan Lee. It's like watercolor. The art is gorgeous. But sorry, Rings of Power.
Yeah, I have zero like affinity or anything for Lord of the Rings. Like fantasy in general, I'm just like, meh. Yeah. Like people like there's elves and dwarves. I'm just like that's more of like a turn off for me. Like I liked the Lord of the Rings movies, but like I've never rewatched them ever. I may have seen Fellowship twice in my life.
That's crazy.
But like, and that's another reason like Game of Thrones, like never just like that setting, like
high fantasy
has never like appealed to me. Whereas like I watched like half a second of like Blade Runner or Star Wars and I'm fucking in. Like I'm a sci-fi junkie through and through, but like Rings of Power, the story, like I don't even really care. Like again, it's just like fantasy, but god damn is that show beautiful.
It's
like,
very well produced.
I just watch it for just the sheer spectacle of it. It's like yeah, it is out of beautiful control show. How good it looks. And like it's interesting enough.
No, I'm a fan of Tolkien and I get confused sometimes.
And no, it's funny because all of my like not nerdy friends are like fucking fantasy nerds. Like they all like I said something about hobbits and like, it's not hobbits, they're Harfoots, they're the descendants. I'm like, fuck you.
Well, actually.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't care. But anyway, yeah. It's crazy how expensive that show looks.
Yeah. I have very mixed feelings about Rings of Power because it is a good looking show. It's very beautiful. I think it's well acted. And there are some things that I'm aware of that I get to see like, oh, like here's this character that I've like read about or like that they talk about in the books or whatever. But I also know that Rings of Power is also kind of the reason why Dark Tower never happened.
Yeah, and see, I would rather have seen a Dark Tower show because it's more Western horror-y fantasy, which more appeals to me.
Yeah. I mean, just the fact that
we didn't get a live action Subi.
Damn it, Subi. I think Chandler made that reference when he was visiting us in Colorado. Damn it, Subi. I was like, you know what? I'm just glad that if you guys took anything from my book reading recommendations, you guys could walk away with
it. I've been trying to read more books recently, and I like just finished the last one I had, and I was like, oh, I never finished The Drawing of the Three, so I pulled that out.
Cool. I think Chandler, you're reading that too at one point.
Yeah, I'm still in that. Yeah, I'm still at the bar in the beginning.
I just finished Neil Gaiman's The Ocean at the End of the Lane.
I fucking love that book.
What's
that,
dude?
about?
I read that.
So I got it because it was short, and I read it in like 3 days. But
it's so good.
It like captures the like sense of like being 7 and sad better than anything I've ever like read or thought or anything. And just like it's a pretty like kind of small story just about like a guy reflecting on the past and like fantastical things happen, but damn. And that's the first Gaiman thing I've ever read. Like novel, like
he's one of my favorite writers. And like I said,
after reading that, I'm just like, all right, I need to read more of it.
Yeah, dude, American Gods, fucking phenomenal.
That's the first one I ever read.
I was sad when that book was over because I just like I don't know, the way he describes it, I could just see the people and the locations. Like Chandler, like no spoiler, but like, when Shadow goes to that like town, and there's like that diner and they talk about like the meat pies that like stick to your bones. Like I feel like I could feel it. I could smell it. I could see it so clearly in my brain. Like I wanted to live there.
Like just the way he describes like the scenery, because it basically just takes place at like 2 cottages, this book. But without like overly just describing, I don't know. Yeah, he's a very talented writer. If people haven't heard, this Neil Gaiman guy, he's gonna go places,
dude. American Gods, Stardust, and
I keep forgetting he wrote that.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the book, they have like read all of these other half a dozen Neil Gaiman books.
Well, I'm telling you right now, American Gods, Stardust, and Neverwhere. Oh man, so good. Love Neil Gaiman. Like that, Neil Gaiman doesn't feel like I'm reading.
Oh wow.
Do you know what I mean? I don't know if you guys ever had that experience where like you get so lost in the book that you forgot you were ever turning pages. Like you were so.
That's how I got with all the Expanse books.
Yeah, like, for me, it was the Magician's trilogy.
I like I read all 9 of the Expanse books in like a year, but they're all like 600
I started watching the
books.
Expanse.
It's a good, amazing show, and I love the show too because it's super close to the books, but it does change some things. So like as a book fan, it's still like new and different.
Yeah,
but
I started
those books are so
reading.
good.
I need to try it again. I read The Expanse and I thought I wasn't smart enough.
Oh,
See, The Expanse does this stuff. It's like almost hard sci-fi because they use a bunch of like realistic physics things to kind of explain some of the sci-fi stuff,
right?
Which I love.
Yeah,
I read in August I read The Three Body Problem, which is a sci-fi book. It's written by a Chinese author, and it's like, I don't know, if you Google like best sci-fi books of the past 10 years, it's going to show up. It's like one of those like well-renowned. It's becoming a Netflix show, I think next year or the year after. But that book has some like dense science in it. I'm like, I feel too dumb to understand a lot of this.
Like, am I going to be reading that and a science book, like, or like an engineering book at the same time? Like just looking up, like, what is this dude?
The Three Body Problem is a little dense. And also it's written, I guess the way Chinese authors write, like just the way they like structure like stuff is different than a Western writer, which I thought was interesting, but it definitely was like a different reading experience.
Yeah.
Definitely a cool story. Excited for the TV show.
Cool.
But,
I did read a book recently that I found out was going to be made into a movie, A Head Full of Ghosts. I think it's by Paul Tremblay. He's from Massachusetts. Yeah, you should check him out. I've only read that one book, A Head Full of Ghosts. But that was good. Also kind of like Angela and I read that book together. Like we would take turns reading the chapters out loud. And again, kind of like totally got lost in it. And it's great because at one point the character is living in Southie and I'm like, what version of Southie is this? I've never seen it.
It's like fantasy Southie.
Yeah, like this bitch couldn't afford to be living by herself in this place. It's Southie.
Get out of here.
Yeah, it's like, what year is this?
For real. Like, yeah, but otherwise, yeah, like I don't know, it was kind of unbelievable. What, the supernatural? No, the fucking housing?
Oh man, speaking of Southie, me and Sabina went out to eat there like, I don't know, whenever Thor was out, because we saw Thor after. There's only white college girls in Southie. That's the entire population of Southie. It's just college girls. I was like, there is
of course
only,
after I leave.
Yeah, like there is only 20-year-old girls in this entire district of Boston. Like,
wow.
Dude, when I was living there, I thought I was gay. Because the alternative, like, Paul, you want to go out? No, you're 13 and you sound like my Aunt Helen.
Oh no.
I think I like dick now.
Yeah, to say Southie has been gentrified is an understatement.
Every time I go back, it's changed. The fact that there's like a sushi restaurant on Broadway in Southie and no
Broadway is all
people...
new condos. It's crazy. Like,
damn,
wild.
That's bananas. Yeah, I am shocked my dad owns property in Southie. Like just bananas to me. Because from what I understand, especially because GE moved their headquarters there, right?
Yeah,
and
GE's like right on the water, kind of on the other side of like that Gillette building, South Station.
And so my dad said that like, yeah, a lot of the people who are working at GE are living in Southie, and that's another reason why the prices
all of the seaport, like where I work, it's all.
I've heard that's changed too,
dude. It's crazy. They're putting an Alamo Drafthouse movie theater there. And I'm very excited because it's literally, I walk out of my work, walk across the street, and that's where the Alamo Drafthouse is going to be.
Why is all this shit happening after I left?
Right. Is Harpoon still there?
Harpoon is down. Yeah. Down the way a bit. But
dude, when I was working at Seaport, there was like a 7-Eleven and a Dunkin' Donuts.
Right. I used to intern at the ICA like in 2009. It was like nothing was there.
So there's still nothing like, so like sometimes at lunchtime, I'll just like go for a walk. And I'll like go walk around the like boardwalk near the ICA and stuff. And it's a nice walk, but there's like no stores to poke around in still. Like, there's no like Newberry Comics or like,
oh my God,
even like a GameStop or anything. It's all like, it's like Sweet Green salad restaurant places and like expensive. Lunch. Yeah. And like expensive clothing stores.
That's still, I mean, every time somebody gives me an update, I'm like, Jesus Christ, like it's changed a lot. Because I remember working there. It was, anyway, going off track from.
I know people are like, well, I don't give a shit about Boston
or your fucking resume.
Well, maybe you should.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're coming up on that time anyway. I know we were talking about what Rob has been reading and watching, which is always a way I like to wrap up our episodes. Is any book, movie, media recommendations you guys want to give out?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I've been watching The Expanse on Amazon Prime. Also, of course, She-Hulk, and I haven't been reading much recently, but yeah. Oh, comics. I'm sorry. I started reading I'm still reading the Dawn of X stuff, but I just start reading the X-Force by what's his name again? The X-Force, the Krakoa X-Force is pretty good.
Got it. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I haven't said. I did start watching Dahmer on Netflix. Evan Peters is acting the shit out of this. Like, he is very good. I think Juan said it best. He's going to get all the awards because he is just phenomenal in this role. Which I also have to remind myself that this is like a real person, a real events. So I don't want to glorify it too much. It's
kind of like a bit of a storm on the internet about it, but
I've been reading about it.
The true crime stuff. It's like Sabina just listens to all true crime all day, every day. I'm like, I can't do it. I'm just so, I don't know. Yeah. If I turn on, I see like Dahmer, and then I'll see like, I don't know, P.S. I Love You or something. I'm like, I'd rather watch P.S. I Love You.
And you'd probably be happier for it. I don't know at what point in my life where I took this turn. I think probably because in recent years I've become so more aware of like mental health and what happens when shit goes untreated. And I think it's,
that's why I loved Mindhunter. I thought Mindhunter was a really cool like take on the serial killer genre. Just because it kind of went into like more of like the psyche and like,
that's the shit I'm kind of into, is like what, because everything that I've kind of learned about the serial killer stuff, it's like I had a lot of preconceived notions that I was like just totally like wrong about. Like a lot of these guys, they're not like masterminds, they're not geniuses. It's a lot of people who like needed to be medicated that didn't. There's a lot of like racism and homophobia that allowed these guys to operate and not get caught, no matter how many times they were in police custody. So I think that stuff is kind of what I'm like. I'm not more into the murders, but more into the what was going on in society at the time.
Yeah, my favorite, like that, when there's like true crime stuff and it's more of a procedural side of things, more than a just like a let's talk about the gruesome murder. I'm more just like, I want to see like, like the police detective work side of things, or like it's like journalism, investigative side of things.
That's why it's like with Son of Sam, right? I don't give a shit if he talked to dogs or not. Like, I'm more interested in how he was caught, or how he was, or what was the negligence that made him like, what's a great documentary is Search for the Sons of Sam. And that is a documentary about a journalist who was convinced that there was more than one shooter. And I feel like that's more about like the journalist's journey, and less about like Berkowitz. Like I think if you're into the procedural stuff and like investigative reporting, that show, it's narrated by Paul Giamatti. And it's just, I think it's like, I don't know, 3 or 4 episodes, but that was fucking good. Like, and like, just, yeah. So anyway, the non-comic book shit that I've been reading.
Multiverse.
Yeah. But Uncanny X-Force, the Rick Remender stuff was great. And the Jason.
I think I'm gonna dip back into that, considering I have it sitting right next to me.
Book club.
Ooh, I would totally do a book club for this.
You want to do a book club of Uncanny X-Force?
Yeah.
He said as his voice cracked.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, but I'm also reading the Jason Aaron Wolverine and the X-Men, and
I've always heard great things about that.
I liked it. It kind of petered out towards the end. Not petered out, but it got weird towards the end.
I mean, I like it. I think the only thing that bothers me is what got us here, which is the whole fucking schism. Yeah. So
we'll save that to undo schism.
I'll save that for another episode. But Uncanny Book Club.
Woo.
Let's do it. I literally just read it, but I'll read it again. I'm trying to get Ansel to read
fresh
it.
in your mind. Just
yeah. I'll have my tone with me at the ready with like, I'll have like the Post-its and notes, quotes, interviews with the writer.
Yeah.
I'll be ready. But on that note, I'm so glad you guys came back for this episode. Looking forward to doing it again soon. Those who have listened, you know the drill. Instagram, Facebook, give us some stars. Whatever, if you feel like it. And have fun, exploring the multiverse.